This is Why Am I a Mets Fan? A podcast hosted by Samantha Croston and Ashley Wenskoski.
What's up, everyone? She's already waving. I was counting
to
down.
my people.
I was literally saying 3. I'm like, you don't have to start waving yet. The camera's not on.
Auto
3, 2, 1.
Autopilot wave.
That's Ashley Wenskowski. I'm Samantha Cross, and this is the Why Am I a Mets Fan podcast. We're 2 Syracuse reporters. We have a baseball podcast. We're talking about the Mets, of course. Since we last spoke, the Mets took 2 out of 3 from the A's in Sacramento. They are hot. They are 10-5 to start the season. They're in first place in the NL East. What's going on?
Tantalizing.
I'll say.
Tantalizing to start the season.
To say the least, when you consider last season.
Gave it to y'all right off the bat today.
Damn.
Tantalizing start for the New York Mets. Yeah, the Mets, now I know everybody immediately is going to say, oh, they played the Marlins twice and the A's and I know. Okay, I understand. Just let me have a moment of happiness. The Mets are the only team in baseball that has not lost back-to-back games yet this season. They have won 4 of the first 5 series to begin the season. The Astros, of course, that only loss. And this week, they head out to Minnesota for 3, and then they come back home to host the Cardinals for 4 games this weekend. So the A's series, I mean, listen, if there's a team in baseball that is truly in the trenches right now, it would be, you can't even call them the Oakland A's. They actually just don't even have first part. They're just the A's.
They're just the A's at this point.
I mean, folks.
Just a whole rebrand.
They play in a minor league park.
Yeah, and listen, I will say, out of all the stats that you just read off, the fact that the Mets are the only team in baseball that has not lost back-to-back games this season, that sticks out to me, man.
I knew that was going to stick out to
No,
you.
because you know what? It doesn't even matter who you're facing. That's consistency right there.
Yeah.
And only one team has done it. Oh, that's an exclusive club. But yeah, so we're doing a little bit of takeaways from the A's series today. The first one that Ashley has is that everybody's eating.
Everybody hits. Everybody hits. Yeah, we've been a little worried about the bottom of this lineup. It hasn't looked,
worried.
I mean, a bit worried. It hasn't looked great. We've been on our guy, Brett Baty. Mark Vientos has not had a great start to the year, but on Sunday, with the 8-0 win over the A's, Vientos, Luis Torrens had RBI doubles, and Brett Baty had the most needed RBI triple possibly of all time. I actually am not sure that there's ever specifically been an RBI triple that has been more needed than the one Brett Baty hit.
Necessary. I have to tell you something,
Sure.
a secret.
Okay.
Sometimes I don't look at them. I'm telling you.
All right, it's diary time. Open it up.
No, I have to tell you this. I just need to tell you. So sometimes I write down random predictions in my notes.
Oh, I did know this about you, yeah.
I did tell you that already, just so that I have them in case they come true. And on notes, it always tells you the date, so you can look back and be like, you're right or you're wrong.
Convenient.
I wrote this on April 11th. This is not the day Brett Baty had the triple, just so everyone knows. My prediction was wrong. But I don't know why I had a feeling this week. I said, tonight, April 11th, is the night that Brett Baty breaks out of his slump, leading to a breakout season, and he spends the rest of his career as a Met.
Oh my God, wait a minute. Breakout season, rest of the career as the Met. We jumped off cliffs, caverns. See you tomorrow.
I literally have no idea.
What time? What time was that at your notes?
No,
Can
I don't
just
know.
ask for a...
Honestly, a really quality question. 2:34 p.m.
PM. I thought it was going to be AM.
No, I know. It seems like the kind of thing that would be a late night thought. I have no idea what made me decide to do that. Sometimes I am right, though. So I just wanted to say that it was not on April 11th.
Awesome.
But just in case that happens, just know I was a couple days in advance of
Ahead of the curve.
that all happening. But I'm actually not, in reality, ready to say that's what's about to happen because he
just
had
nodded a little. Sorry, guys.
Because he had one triple. It was needed, but it also wasn't like, I'm not like feeling relieved, like all's well in the world again.
No,
congrats,
for sure
but
it wasn't enough. Like, congrats, Brad, but I am going to need to see more, especially when it's like all I picture with Brett Baty is I've been seeing the clock is ticking, but I picture like, in the movies and like dramatic old things, they have like an hourglass of sand that ticks down.
Stop.
I just picture Brett's hourglass has been here for Jeffy McNeil is going to be back like this weekend. Like, Brett's got a week.
You know what I honestly think? I honestly think maybe we need to take away the car. I honestly think the car was too much pressure.
Punishment.
It was given to him as a gift, and now he feels like Juan Soto gave me this gift, and I need to perform really well, and that's why he's not performing really well. He just needs his old car again, and then it will feel like minor league baseball, and then he'll be able to perform.
I said it to you all when he got the car from Juan Soto in spring training. I will post a picture on our account, on our Why Am I Mets Fan podcast account, when I see the car at Wegmans or at NBT Bank Stadium this summer. I will post it in Syracuse, just so you all know, Brett Baty car sighting, because it doesn't look like the rest of the cars in Syracuse, New York, so it will be sticking out.
And it looks like it may be coming around the mountain to Syracuse,
And there
New
comes
York.
the car. That's going to be our new Brett Baty watch. The car is coming around the mountain.
Do you remember what kind of car it was or no?
It was like a Chevy Tahoe. That was
was
the whole thing about the car. Is like, what do
Something
you,
like legit.
Yeah, but like, yeah, so legit and like tricked out and stuff. But like, what do you mean your dream car is a Chevy Tahoe? Like, if I asked you right now, what's your dream car?
Another pickup truck.
All right.
I know I'm the worst.
Never mind.
You know I'm the worst person to
Moving
ask that
on.
question to. So sorry. I have a thing with my truck. But also, like, I think even beyond, like, that truck was also just gigantic. Or his SUV.
Symbolic.
But it was also like, it's like built, it's like, you envision that car that, I really should say SUV that Soto got for him. Like that commercial or advertisement for that SUV, it's showing like a family of 6. Like
Yeah.
there's really just no reason for him to have
It's
an
like
SUV.
there should be little Bretts in the back.
Right, and there's not. Like he's so young.
Yeah.
It's just a funny car. That's all I can
It's
say
sort of a
about it.
mom-mobile, honestly.
It is. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I feel like if you actually went into that car, there would be like freaking 1 or 2 TVs. Like there's
Yeah,
supposed
yeah.
to be children in car seats and all that
Definitely.
in that kind of a vehicle.
Definitely. Like the movie screen pops down, whole thing.
It was sort of random. Again, I'm not saying obviously if you're Brett Baty and you didn't have that car before, you're going to be grateful that you had it. But it does seem like sort of a strange pick if you really had your pick of the lot. You know what I mean?
You know what it's good for? It like really would do well in Syracuse winters, which it still is in upstate New York in April. Brett, it's going to snow this week, so I know you got the car for it.
Oh, do you think he knew that? Like he was looking for like a vehicle that had good traction for the tires?
No more.
Sorry.
I can't. No
Anyway, no, we're just messing around. Obviously, we're rooting for him.
Still on the hot seat, though.
Hot ones. Beyond that, we also got a little Kodai Senga, a little Sunday Senga sighting.
A little Sunday special. A little Kodai Cooks.
A little ghost fork. I can't think
Ghost
of it.
fork.
I'm out.
I don't know.
I'm out.
Okay.
You don't know.
All right. Okay.
But honestly, the ghost fork was cooking.
He's cooking with the fork.
He had people swinging and missing, bro.
Yeah, he looked like 2023 Kodai Senga on Sunday. Pitched 7 innings. First time this year Mets pitcher has done that. Finally pitched deep into a game. No earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. I think he gave up like 4 hits. It was really quite the gem from Kodai. Yes, it was the A's, I know, but it was nice.
Did you see that little beard he was sporting? I know I bring
No.
up facial hair a lot. I don't know if it was just in the photo that SNY posted or if that's really how he looks right now. So let me get back to you
I
guys
did
on
not.
that. But he just, I don't know. He had sort of this look, man. Like he's not messing around. Like you know how certain facial hair can just do that.
Kodai means business right
I
now.
forget what it's called. So, somebody roast me in the comments because it's a bunch of men.
A goatee?
But is that what it's called? Like it almost seemed bigger than that. But yeah, it really was just like the one little circle
When
on the
there's, like,
bottom.
the hole in the middle?
Can
Yeah.
no hole. Just
Oh.
literally just one big, like a little cup.
Oh, just like a little-
Can someone tell me what that's
I don't
called?
know what that's called, to be honest with you.
I don't know, but it gives like F-boy energy. You know what I mean?
Not Kodai Senga with the F-boy energy. All right. We've had an unhinged beginning to this
Our
episode.
bosses said we can't curse. Anyway,
God. No, they said limit the cursing. I would like to.
that's true. That actually is true.
Sometimes there will be moments that require it.
That's also definitely true. Okay, moving on.
Furthermore,
They're facing the Twins now. Worth noting, totally different kinds of weather, which I'm starting to realize. Not that I didn't know this already, but I'm just saying in baseball, just feels like that really matters. Like that really could have a big impact at any given day.
Yeah, the bats, the hitting this time of year. I mean, it's like 80 degrees in Sacramento and sunny, and now they're in Minnesota, of all places, and it's like 40s,
What do you have against
30s
Minnesota?
at night. Minnesota falls into the Toronto Blue Jays category of like, I forget they're a baseball team. Like the Minnesota Twins. Come on.
There was real judgment behind that. And I feel offended for people from Minnesota right now.
There are people. No, I'm not a Minnesota hater, but the Minnesota
You're not a
Twins.
Minnesota lover.
Not a Minnesota lover. The Minnesota Twins, I know in terms of like baseball free agency scope. All right, like a player sees like the Minnesota Twins and they're like, what exactly goes on in Minnesota? No one's sure.
Oh my God!
Who's to say?
Why are we not? What's going on
I don't know.
right now?
We're not really locked
We're not
in,
talking about a whole
sorry.
lot of baseball. Okay, let's go back to the start. The Mets are facing the Twins tonight.
About to start.
Yep, about to start. A couple of people who we are probably going to be seeing: Clay Holmes, Tyler McGill, Griffin Canning. As you guys obviously know, the pitching has been doing pretty well. So now we get to see How long and how far does that continue? Also, according to Ashley's notes, could be a little bit of a shakeup in the rotation coming potentially soon.
Yeah, this week against the Twins, that's a gaggle lineup if I've ever heard one. So we'll see if the gaggle continues to overperform. But yeah, Carlos Mendoza said that the Mets could be moving to a 6-man rotation as soon as this weekend for the Cardinals series. Now, why is that happening? Well, I'll tell you. They don't have an off day this week, meaning that Senga is really kind of slated to pitch on Friday right now, and considering he pitched on Sunday, that's sort of like 4 days rest, especially for a guy like Senga, used to that 6-day stuff in Japan. They've, tossed around the 6-man rotation idea because of him. That really seems like it's not going to work. So, what's going to happen there, well, is that Brandon SPROAT music that I hear. I mean, who else could it be? I think you look at the situation, it could be a long game maybe from somebody in the bullpen, like a Max Kranick, been able to give them a lot of innings. Jose Urena, he's been in Syracuse. He's another option they could call up. He would be on regular rest if they were to call him up to pitch Friday. But let's talk about the tantalizing option, which is the number one prospect, which is Brandon SPROAT. Now,
Are you tantalized by that?
Well, I'm tantalized by Brandon SPROAT, but I'm going to put a prediction out into the world. I don't think that that's what's going to happen here. That's the speculation because it's the flashy one and it's the number one prospect and everybody's excited. I don't think the New York Mets and I don't think David Stearns really had any plan of seeing Brandon SPROAT on a Citi Field mound in the month of April. And I think they're going to stick to that plan. Just because this is inconvenient and, there's too many days they need a 6-man. I don't think they want it to be SPROAT right now. Not to mention, SPROAT has a 5.23 ERA through 3 starts. Hasn't exactly been off to the best start in AAA Syracuse, and he didn't end on the best note at Syracuse last season. On Saturday, he did have a better start. He went 4 1/3, 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts, so that was a promising sign. He would line up to pitch in New York on Friday. Same as Urena, he'd sort of be on regular rest. His last start was Saturday for Syracuse, so what I'll tell you is it'll be telling to monitor kind of the AAA probables, whether or not he pitches in Syracuse on Wednesday or Thursday. That'll tell you a lot of what you need to know.
Yep, I completely agree with that. So obviously we will let you guys know that. Even if we're not having an episode, we can tweet that out or something just so you guys are aware. But yeah, I don't know. Obviously it's a small sample size, It's been 3 starts, but am I really looking at him? And that's why I kind of asked, are you tantalized? Am I wanting to pull up somebody right now with a 5.23 ERA for, kind of just this start? I don't know. I actually am more inclined to think that it would be like a bullpen game or something more to that effect, to tell you the truth.
I just don't think that's been their plan all along, and I don't think they're going to stray from it. I know I saw the people on social media saying, what if that happens? Apparently, Gary, Keith, and Ron even had a conversation about it over the weekend, that maybe it could happen. They were just sort of tossing it around. They weren't saying it was going to happen. They were doing like a what if, speculating, hypothesizing, what if anything. I think they said that, right? David Stearns has said that at the end of spring training and the start of the season. I don't think he's shown enough at the AAA level. And then, of course, you get into the actual logistical concerns that the organization has to worry about in terms of avoiding arbitration and kicking another year down the line of him making his MLB debut and all of that. I don't think has shown to be anywhere near ready at the AAA level yet. I've always thought that SPROAT seems more like a June, July, August sighting sometime in New York in the summer. I think it's too soon, but what if anything, he does line up. I'm not saying it's impossible.
I'm also, for the most part, just really anti-rushing pitchers' debuts in general.
Yeah.
I don't think that it makes sense. It is, I think, a bigger difference than people possibly even realize. And while it could be exciting, AAA versus going up and playing in Citi Field or wherever he'd be playing, it's not the same, And I would feel sad to see a situation where he goes up there and then flops and then the moment is ruined when it could have been avoided. Not to say that that's what's going to happen. Maybe he goes and performs great, but looking at, just the stats that we've seen, like you said, from the end of last year and from the start of this year, I think more time is warranted and perhaps even required.
Listen, you can throw 4 1/3 scoreless against the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, and everyone can say that that's, encouraging, but that's not exactly the same as doing it against the St. Louis Cardinals, all right, at Citi Field.
I completely agree.
Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, St. Louis Cardinals.
Why is that funny? Just the Iron Pigs in general.
I used to intern for the Iron Pigs. We'll get into that at a deeper time.
I genuinely didn't know that.
Yeah.
Can we get the spark notes at least? Doing what?
Yeah, before my senior year of college, I lived honestly 45 minutes away. It was a hike. But I interned because I just wanted to intern at a baseball stadium. And I sort of just bopped around. I did a lot of things. I wore a lot of hats.
Did you of course you did.
Sometimes I sold hats. Sometimes I was in the broadcast booth. I did a few things. Sometimes I did the little Ks, the strikeouts on the the board.
This is not a real story.
No,
I
it
really
is.
didn't know that.
It is. And you know what the best part of it all was? I got to the internship on the first day. Sorry, this is like some lore. And there was like 20 of us that were doing this internship over the summer. I show up. I'm so excited. My high school boyfriend that I hadn't talked to in about 5 years was also one of the interns that summer.
You know what would really serve you well?
What?
To stop dating dudes in broadcasting.
Well, I have. I've taken a turn, so
It's
that's
true.
been good.
She has.
Anyways.
If we could just petition for that to always be the case forevermore, it really, really mean a lot to me.
No more. Anyways, we fight on. It was quite the summer.
Wow, look at you. Okay, great to know.
Great kid, by the way. Not derogatory towards him. Just it was a funny situation.
Yeah, of course. We wish him well.
We do.
Okay. Well, the other thing that we're keeping an eye on besides Ashley's
So off
past
track.
is Francisco Alvarez and Jeff McNeil. They're coming back, which is why we said, Brett Baty, you got work to do. But Francisco Alvarez, that's another obviously big topic. And as far as we know, we are working right now with the Syracuse, essentially like SID to confirm it. But Francisco Alvarez is supposed to be in Syracuse tomorrow. And if he is, Ashley will be there.
Yeah, things we are tantalized by this week include the Syracuse Mets. Alvarez is supposedly supposed to have a rehab assignment here tomorrow. We'll let you know. We'll put it out the whole 9 yards. Don't have an answer yet, but hopeful. And it's a possibility that McNeil kind of gets up here too at the end of the week. So that's all great. Both of those guys could be back in New York sort of by the end of the weekend. But it is time. I'm opening a door that we have a conversation about Luis Torrens. I am going to start a dialogue. Listen.
I love, you guys should see her bullets. Like, she writes these bullets herself. She said, I would like to start a dialogue.
On the paper.
Okay, Ashley.
Like, who am I saying that to other than myself?
Also, like, things we're here to do. Start a dialogue.
This whole podcast is just starting one giant dialogue. Anyways,
What is the dialogue that
My
you'd like to start with
dialogue
me?
is that Luis Torrens has been really, you want to talk about somebody overperforming the beginning of this season. First of all, the Mets get Torrens off the Yankees scrap heap pile prior to last year. All right. Carlos Mendoza has a vision. He's like, Luis Torrens, I have a dream. And then he brings Torrens. He brings Torrens over to the Mets.
And
And
someone never refers to me in that way.
I was saying he's overperformed from the scrappy pile.
Okay, great.
Anyway.
Easy to overperform when you're garbage. Like,
okay.
oh
All
my
right,
God,
sorry,
I'm getting
hold,
so hot.
please.
It's so hot in here for what?
Tears are coming.
It's always
Okay.
like 40 degrees
All
in
right.
here, but it's really
Okay.
hot today. Okay.
All right. Anyways, the Mets, they get Torrens from the Yankees. He's had quite the start to this season. Now, I know that he showed flashes of that last year with, throwing out base runners and all that, the whole 9 yards. I mean, he's hitting .333. He's throwing everybody out still. And you can take a deeper dive into his hitting stats. I actually went down a little rabbit hole on the fine website Baseball Savant, which is only made for psychotic people like myself. But it really doesn't seem like a fluke. He's barreling up balls. He's, has a bunch of hard hit balls, the whole 9 yards. He's like 89th percentile in terms of barreled up balls so far in the league this year. I think he's earned, I know he's not going to be the starter. Alvarez is their catcher of the future and whatever, the whole 9 yards. But he's earned more playing time when Alvarez comes back. Because I'm not going to say he's better than Alvarez. Alvarez still has a lot of learning and growing to do and developing, and he's been hurt, and I know. But, when he's behind the plate, you're not running on Luis Torrens, and you might run on Francisco Alvarez.
I know what you mean. I have to say that is a dialogue I want to start with you. I felt like even my dad was saying that weeks ago, this guy, he's not going to be the starting catcher, but he could be. He really could be. I mean, the way, obviously, you need to see it play out and see how long he's able to kind of keep these numbers. But, batting .333, 5 RBI, I mean, I think he has completely, far and away overperformed. But even last season, I feel like this is a guy that was always solid. He just didn't, like you said, necessarily get as many reps. I totally agree, especially in the beginning here where they're trying to make sure that Alvarez stays healthy. There is no reason why you could not have this dude in the lineup 2 to 3 times a week minimum. And honestly, now I know and agree with you that it's not necessarily a battle. I think Alvarez's spot was safe and is safe. But now that Torrens had such a nice kind of chunkier to show what he's made of, you almost do wonder, like, what happens? Let's just say that Alvarez came back and his batting average is awful. Then what? Like,
it's sort of like, why should it be safe at that point? I get it. You think this guy's the future and this guy's not, but...
And how long would he have? I don't know. You know, it's like, it's so tough, those kinds of conversations, because once you really open up a competition again, you're messing with everyone's mentality.
I know.
And some people really step up to that kind of profession. That kind of, I meant to say that kind of pressure, but I combined the word profession with it. I'm so sorry.
So sorry.
I think some kinds of people step up to that pressure. But some people flop under it. And I wouldn't want to see a situation where then both of them are feeling nervous. Like, you kind of have to give people time to perform. So I could totally see where Alvarez gets a little bit of a grace period. Let him get back into it. I think he's great and I think he's wonderful. But I do think Torrens is wonderful too. And all of a sudden for the Mets, catcher is, it's a deep, solid position.
And catcher is right. You're talking about that whole, when you open up a competition, it's dangerous. Well, they're also managing a pitching staff. That's dangerous too. You know, your 5 starters or 6 or whatever it is want to know who they're going to throw to every 5 days and develop that relationship and the whole 9 yards. And I'm sure everybody on the Mets staff that's been there, like a, Manaea when he comes back, or like a Senga who's been used to throwing to Torrens or Alvarez, could kind of adapt to whoever it is. But I think pitchers want some stability there.
And I totally understand that. And those are the kinds of things that we don't know and won't know, but I sort of wish we did behind the scenes. Like, what is Torrens' relationship like with the pitchers versus Alvarez? Is it really significantly different one way or the other? I would just be curious to know how the relationships are off the field and how much of an impact that makes,
I agree. Open to seeing Luis about 3 times a week, certainly.
Absolutely open to work.
Open to work.
Other injury news. Sean Manaea received an MRI today that showed improvement. He resumed playing catch off flat ground, but he will not progress beyond that over the next 10 days. The Mets want to make sure he is fine before they push him. That was according to Anthony DiComo. Completely makes sense as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Especially now. The pitching is doing great. It's fine.
What if anything?
Yeah.
I mean, definitely good to see him showing improvement. Obviously, he kind of had that setback with that injury. So always want to hear good news relating to Sean Manaea, but I totally get that they're going to play it slow. Like you even said, right now they really have no reason to rush it. So I guess we'll see what develops there over the next few days and the next few weeks.
You also have Jose Siri undergoing an MRI and a CT scan today because he's still pretty sore. Mets will make an official decision as far as the IL on him after today's game. I will say, did you happen to see that injury? It really was it was gnarly. The ball came right up and hit him on the shin. Oh. That being said, I actually do feel sort of hopeful because it's the shin. Mm-hmm. I just feel like
your shin's like a tough place.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's not, I almost feel like it's
hard-hitting analysis.
Yes, hard-hitting analysis from 2 people who have approximately 0 medical background, but in my mind, I'm like, he's fine. It's a shin. It's one big giant bruise and it's going to go away. Yeah. It's all going to be good. Hopefully. We'll see what the MRI
could be
shows.
like a bone bruise or something, which would probably leave him out for longer. I did see something today that if they do have to make a roster move with Siri, calling someone up or whatever that means, the Mets are like one of the only teams so far that hasn't made a roster move. And did you know that they're like 10% of the way through the season? Because I guess they're like technically 16 games in or something after tonight.
That makes sense.
Doesn't that just seem odd that it's like 10% of the way? I mean, they just started. That's just math, but
No,
I don't.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, that is sort of weird to think about. Honestly, it feels like we kind of just started.
Yeah.
I don't know why for some reason 10% feels
well,
longer
it's not a lot.
It's not a lot, but I know what you mean. Yeah, that is sort of strange. And I will say, I really hope he is okay. Because Jose Siri has pretty much been everything I thought he would be and a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, I like the energy he brings. I love how fast he's able to run. I really do hope that he's okay because I've been loving what I'm seeing from him.
Can't really hit, but put him on the base paths and he'll make some magic.
Matters for something. And then you also have, how do you say his last name? I feel like I messed this up.
Mauricio, I believe.
Mauricio, okay.
I believe.
Somebody smoked me for that the last time, so let us know if we're wrong. But he has not begun playing as well. He will DH tomorrow in the Florida Complex League.
Mauricio and Drew Gilbert and the like, Jet Williams, all of those kind of prospecty guys that are elusive. Mauricio hasn't played baseball. I was talking to, I think we put it on our channels when I spoke to the AAA manager about kind of all those guys coming back up a couple weeks ago. Like, Mauricio hasn't played baseball since 2020, what year is it? 2023.
What year
like,
is it?
He didn't even play. He didn't even like do baseball activities last year. So
Crazy.
definitely going to be a long road back to like where he's ready to play in New York. But seeing all those guys kind of come up and come through Syracuse, I know Williams is in AA right now. Drew Gilbert is going to be exciting and is surely going to be tantalizing. So let's get it kicked off against the Twins tonight, folks. I'm excited.
Yeah, let us know if you have any questions of the week or anything like that. We didn't do it this time, but we will continue to try and do that. Also, good time to say make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Road to 10,000. We're getting closer, and I can't wait until I don't have to say that anymore because we're already there. So thank you so much, as always, for joining us. We'll see you back here when the next big thing happens.
I thought about something I should have mentioned.
Thank you.
Thanks, GT. With the Iron Pigs, there was a like a mascot race in like the 7th inning.
Shut up.
They'd have the interns do it. It was like because they're the Iron Pigs, so it was like a piece of bacon, like a pork chop. I don't know, it all related to pigs.
You ran?
No, I refused to do it all summer. The whole summer, you were like supposed to do it, and I was just like, I'm just not doing that.
That is so on brand for you. It's not even funny.
And like the guy who like ran the intern, like you had to like bring separate clothes to do it to kind of change. And I would just be like, sorry, like I didn't bring any clothes. And like by July, he was just kind of like, all right, like okay,
Like, she's just
not gonna do it.
Wait, that's so. I literally would totally do that.
Can't say that they would write me a letter of rec.
No. They were like, she did what she wanted to do. And
And it was not the mascot race.
Wait, I